Welcome back to Possible Outcomes, where the possibilities are endless. We are your hosts. I'm Mick.
And I'm Lily.
And we are two mixed girls living in a black and white world. Every week, we are going to bring you the nitty-gritty of life as we know it, but with the joy of two people who refuse to be told what to do. We drop new videos every Wednesday, so like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything, and enjoy the ride. Today, we are talking about cheating. Dun, dun, dun.
I'm so excited.
Did you do it? Is it bad?
Are you a cheater?
Are you a cheater? Emotional, physical. Were you married when you did it? Ooh. We have questions. Drop your most heinous stories in the comments below because we want to know. We want the tea. We want to know all about it. All right. So let's talk about cheating.
Okay.
What constitutes cheating? What's cheating? Lily, what's cheating to you?
What's cheating to me? I think
to you.
I think to me, cheating is just like doing it with someone else. Like
doing it.
I think if there's, I don't know, I think just going out and, doing it with someone else is just like you're cheating. Like knowing that you are being intimate with someone else. If you have made the decision and had the conversation to not be intimate with other people, with your current partner, and then you're out there being intimate with someone else that's not your current partner, that's cheating. And I think, there's different levels of intimacy that people can find. And I think they'd have to define that for themselves. But for me, it's, getting down and dirty, sharing personal situations, that you wouldn't share with a friend.
There you go. That's the emotional cheating. That one is, sometimes I think that could be worse than physical, a physical affair, an emotional affair.
Well, it depends if they've been tested or not. Yeah. Just saying. Look, some people nasty out there.
Some
people are out there having things and not telling nobody.
I cannot with you. Okay, so I had this conversation. I was interviewing a couple of my friends last night and this morning, and I said, all right, so listen, scenario. Everything is 10 plus for both people. And I know there's like no way to actually know, but like pretend like there's, I don't know, Alex Trebek in heaven, and he's all knowing and he knows everything that you're thinking and that your person is thinking. And it's 10-10, everything's 10-10-20. Life is great. Needs are getting met. But still, someone is stepping out, is looking elsewhere. Why do we think that is? Because I've heard situations where it's like, it was so good. It was great for both of us. And the person who cheated was like, yeah, it's great. But like, why? I
don't know. I think there's a lot to play, but I think like the typical like male argument that you could probably find on like a Fresh and Fit podcast would be it's in our nature. We're not made to just be with one woman. We're not made to settle down.
I need mad bitches.
We need to breed, like, ew, first of all, gross. Second of all, you do not need to breed. You're exactly the opposite of what needs to be bred.
Please stop.
Third of all, I don't see, okay, so this is a hard topic to put words to, because it's like a very personal, like your level is going to be different from someone else's level. But
sure.
I think that for someone who would decide I am no longer happy with what's going on in my own sheets, I would like to go find someone else's sheets without having the conversation to their partner saying, I am not happy with what's happening in our sheets. Is there something we could change? And then just saying, I want something else, so I'm going to keep what I got here because she makes my lunches and cooks me dinner. And this is from a male-female relationship point of view.
Yes.
Then, she wakes me up, she gets my lunch packed, and I have a house and the mortgage, and I don't need to deal with all that, car payments, whatever, but I want to be getting some on the side because I'm a man and I'm horny. Like, okay, well, you're a child and you have no self-control.
Horny.
Or mental, emotional intelligence to be able to sit down and have a conversation saying, I'm having these urges of having, something else happen outside of our relationship. Can we do something together to fix this? Is it therapy? Is it just sitting down having a conversation? Is it just watching a show together? Like, is it trying to be spicier in the bedroom themselves? Is it something that they could control or take care of inside the relationship? Do they need outside help, or do they need to end the relationship? Like, is this a deal breaker? It depends on both parties. I mean, a deal breaker doesn't depend on both parties, but if the deal is going to be broken, it depends on, are they married? Is this going to be a strain on children? Do they have children? Are you cheating on your wife who has children? Like, are you cheating on your children as well? There's so many levels and so many, mini psychoses to it. And it's really frustrating because for being the person who's being cheated on, you don't understand why.
True.
Because rarely you're ever told. Because if you are told, you're probably going to get the excuse, I wasn't getting enough at home, or I wanted a different flavor. Some stupid ass excuse like that. You're not going to be getting, flavor. Well, I wasn't happy. I haven't been happy in our intimate life. I think our conversations are getting, lucid. Like, we're not where we were 5 years ago, and we haven't done anything to change that. We haven't been able to sit down and talk. You haven't had that conversation. You haven't had it. It could even just be like a look to your partner, just having a look at your partner, but getting the excuse of like, I just needed more pee. I just needed to get my dick wet.
Gotta get the P and the V.
It's just not.
So it sounds like
accessible.
From you, from my friend Caitlin, from Erica, it sounds like it's communication and or somebody's not being honest.
Yeah.
Lack of communication, somebody's not being honest, or some unresolved trauma, some sort of disconnect within the relationship.
100%. Because if you're not communicating, you're not knowing. No, you're not psychic. You no one's psychic here. We don't have psychic abilities. We can't be able to.
Not that so Raven.
Right. I wish. Could you imagine? Oh, dreams. A girl can dream. But yeah, you can't read someone else's mind and know what they're thinking. So you have to be able to put trust and commitment into your partner that if something is happening in there, they're going to tell you. Let's talk it out. And if you need to go somewhere and deal with it, then let me pack my shit up first.
There you go. Just let me know. Just let the person know.
Yeah.
I think that's kind.
I mean, if you're already cheating on somebody, at least have the decency to let them move on. Don't cheat on them and then gaslight them into it's their fault that you're cheating. That's the scariest shit, is someone is cheating on you and then they come home from cheating on you and they're gaslighting you into the fact that they're not cheating on you, or that the reason that they're cheating on you is because of you. Bro, I didn't put your dick in someone else's girl. Like, I wasn't there helping you. Like, what do you mean? You got in your own car, drove off, decided to go have sexual relations with someone else, and now you're telling me that's my fault? Bro, I put the kids to bed. Like, homie, the fuck? Like, I just did your laundry.
I folded your underwear.
Learn to wipe.
Listen, first of all, gross. Second of all, true. So this leads me to some stories.
Okay.
All right. So here's a story of my own where it wasn't great. It's not the story that you think. I'm not going to tell that story.
Okay.
That story's a little too fresh.
Yeah.
Give me a couple years. Let this channel blow up.
Yeah.
People like and subscribe, and then we'll tell that story.
Word.
Because it's an interesting story. But this is from when I was with the one before that one.
Okay.
And let's call him Guy. That's pretty easy.
Okay, Guy.
We'll call him Guy. So Guy was a pretty nice guy. Kind of a mess, ex-drug addict / drug addict. Working on himself, trying to get it together. Listen, I get it. Work on it. It's a process. More power to you. So I talked to this man who was the son of a woman I used to teach with. And he was a cop. And he was a hot cop. Now, he was not like winking at me, but I was like, hello, at this man. I was like, what? And he was like Snapchatting me, looking cute in his little state uniform. And I was working at a theater at the time, and I was like, and I remember screenshotting that picture to show my friends. And he was like, did you just screenshot that? And I forgot because it's Snapchat.
No.
And I was like, no. So, and I mean, we didn't talk all the time, but I just thought he was really smart and really handsome, very nice. And Guy at the time was very much up my butt, wanted me to be somebody that I wasn't. And looking back, I know I should have ended that relationship before the year mark. Mom, if you're watching this, you were right. You know exactly who I'm talking about. You were right. And I love you. And so I got invited to dinner with Hot Cop and his parents, and they invited Guy as well. Now, I didn't tell Guy because I didn't want Guy to go. Because I just wanted to stare at this hot cop.
Right.
On his parents' front porch because he was home. He was home that week for the summer from being a cop up north. So Guy does come for a minute. He actually drops me off because this residence wasn't far from his parents' residence.
Okay.
But he left me there, and I was like, I felt real icky. I was like, oh, yeah. Because I'm pretty sure he knew I was winking at this other guy who didn't have a dad. He was like, whatever. His mom would always say that his superpower was that he just oozed sex. And
Ew.
Everyone, men, women, they were just like, yo, what's up? Everyone. And it's true. Everyone. I mean, we did go out and get a drink. I don't think I was with Guy at that point, but he was in town visiting, and we went out and got a drink, and he was, wasn't looking at me or anything, but I was like, hey. So yeah, felt icky about that. Never really told Guy, and now I can't because rest his soul, Guy is dead. Yeah, that's a bummer. But so there was that situation, which leads me to another situation with a story from a friend of mine. So she's seeing this dude who is, I don't want to say a bitch, but a weasel. Let's call him a weasel.
A weasel.
We'll call him a weasel.
That might be worse.
Listen, she said what she said. So he weasels his way in and out of my friend's life for a couple of years. And I don't appreciate it because he, just drops out when he gets scared and things get tough. He's very young. Okay, fine, whatever. She's not quite a few. She's 6 years older than him, 7 years older than him. I don't think he's yet 30, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So she might be 7 years older than him. And she's got children and a life. And you can be here, you cannot be here. So he kind of just disappears. Now, he called her the wrong name in front of her son, who is 14, who was like, what the fuck? Mom. He was like, Mom, I think he's cheating on you. And she was like, no. Called her the wrong name during sex.
Oh. Yikes. Big yikes.
She told me that, and I was like, I think he might be cheating on you.
You think?
So whether, and it was an ex-girlfriend of his, and the names are kind of similar.
No.
What? And I mean, I can't say that I've ever shouted out the wrong name during sex. LOL. Because but
wait, stop. It took me a second. I'm like, there's still a pot. No, there's not. No, there's not.
LOL. But like during a steamy makeout session, maybe, but I don't think so. I feel like I don't know. I feel like and I mean, it had been I don't know. So anyway, that happens, and she was like getting suspicious. Okay, so they had this agreement where she could check his phone if he gave her the passcode, essentially, because of something that had happened previously. He was just being shady. So she could check his phone. So he called her that. And that night she was like, and she checked his phone when he was laying right beside her.
Mm-hmm.
This is some shit that I would do. So anyway, I know myself. I'm not proud of this.
You would.
We're not. I would.
You would find any drawer to open.
I do, and I will. And let this be my future husband, baby. I will find out. And you won't know that I know unless I want you to know.
Mm-hmm.
But don't fuck it up. Anyway, so she, checks and looks and sees that they had been talking, and it was not anything like, it wasn't sexting, but he had been like lying about her to his ex-girlfriend, saying like, oh, I called her your name and she like lost her mind and like all this stuff, and she didn't. Right. And she was like, well, fuck you, bro. And so she brought it up to him the next day, and he was like, you went through my phone? Like, what, did you take it in the bathroom and like look through it? She's like, no, I looked through it while you were laying right the fuck there, stupid. So also, can we please talk about why you are still having intimate, inappropriate conversations with your ex-girlfriend about me? So I said to her, is that cheating? And she was like, I don't know if I would say it's cheating, but it definitely wasn't right.
Yeah, I don't, that's like not knowing exactly what was said, and like, it's weird with an ex. Like, if they're trying to do the we're staying friends thing, it's going to be really easy to kind of slip through that boundary of like what's appropriate, what's inappropriate if you're no longer actually together, and if you're already with somebody else, it's going to be really easy to fall back onto what
into those old habits. Oh yeah, for sure.
And
for sure.
But I mean, that comes with like maturity, and like maybe it's not a good idea to stay friends with an ex if you're with someone new, and maybe it's not a good idea to involve your ex in your current relationship. Like, if you want to be with your ex, go back with your ex type of thing. Just saying.
Here. Listen, she's just saying. I think that's solid advice. I think, and listen, this is coming from somebody who I would love to be friends. If I were that cool, I know I'm not. I know I can't do it. I want to do it. I want to be. I want desperately to be like, yeah, we're cool and chill. But I can't, because I see stuff and I'm like, I'm gonna shoot both of you in your fucking kneecaps. I am not. What the fuck is it called? A respecter of persons. I'll shoot you both with a paint gun. I'll shoot you both. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah. So I know I can't do it. I tried, and then I had to promptly delete again because I could not hang. I'll tell you that story off the air. I could not hang. Anyway, so then there's this last story I'll tell you is a friend of mine from college. Now, she had been with this guy for years and years. And she thought something may have been going on. So, like, ladies, gentlemen, she's, he's, theys.
Do I know this friend?
No.
Okay.
You don't know this friend? I don't think so. No, there's no you. I went to Schenectady with her.
Okay.
And but she she thought something fishy was going on. So she was out of town filming a movie. She was like an extra in a movie and filming in Schenectady with another friend of ours. And they gotten home. It was late. Well, I don't want to stop that. And she got home and it was late, and her man was in bed with another woman in their bed. Now, I don't condone violence, usually, of any sort, usually. However, now what she did next, I think she should have aimed for his head, but that's just me. She picked up an iron and fucking hucked it like an iron at this bitch's head. And the girl immediately left, as one would do when an iron is flying at your face. And shortly thereafter, this couple was engaged to be married. And I was like, it's not the step that I would take right after that. But...
Wait, so the girl who walked in on her boy, they're now engaged.
Oh, now they're married. They've been married for a few years.
They're married.
Yeah. But
so the cheating was not a deal breaker.
Engaged shortly thereafter. Yeah. Apparently it was not a deal breaker. But it leads me to the question of what is?
Right.
So that would be a deal breaker for me.
Oh, without a doubt. That should be a true crime situation podcast. Should be a deal breaker for everyone. It should be a deal breaker for her and the girl that he was cheating with. See, this is the situation, and like you kind of hinted at it. I hate when you see like the videos or like in the movies and the girl walks in and her guy is cheating on her with someone else,
and she's mad at the other
girl. She's mad at the other woman. Honey, she don't know shit. You should assume that she doesn't know anything about his life. That if he's cheating on you, he is lying to her about him being in a relationship. Like, let's just go with that assumption, because the only one doing wrong, like fully knowingly, is him. Kick his broke ass, dumb fucking ass out. He don't deserve either of you. Like,
you ain't got no money. Take your broke ass home.
Like, leave. Like he needs to go. Make a cup of tea for you and your new friend, and think about how to get him back, or get him back. Get back at him. Not get him back. No one wants him back. Nasty.
We don't want you back. I want you back. Remember that song?
Like I love the internet, right? The internet is so incredible, and honestly, the internet wants women supporting women, and we're all here. But when it comes down to the most important moments where women need to support women, they don't.
And you know why? I read this in a book. They or heard it in a podcast, one or the other. Both. There's a scarcity mindset. Mm-hmm. Men are told, have as many bitches as you want. You can have any bitch you want. Plethora. Mm-hmm. Fucking fields and fields of pussy out there for you. Women are told.
The image I just had in my head. I'm so sorry.
Did you see Cats? I saw Cats. I said that, and I saw just fields of cats.
Those big like corn dog looking plants by like lakes and rivers. I just saw them
cattails, cattails. Yeah, cattails.
Just
cat and nine just fields and fields of them, just everywhere, just beautiful.
Oh, the imagery.
I saw cats. I saw little pussy cats, like fields of cats. And but so it's an abundance for men. Yeah. And it is a scarcity mindset for women. And it's really detrimental. And that's why women blame the other woman. Mm-hmm. Because there's not enough. The cake is finite. There's not enough cake for all of us. Instead of the cake being there, the hits just keep on coming. The cake will keep on coming, baby. There's enough for you. There's enough for you. There's enough for all of us. There's as much as you want. There is no scarcity. Yeah. I think that's where cheating might actually come from.
And I'd rather be without a man than with a dirty, disrespectful cheater.
Dirty dick.
Like, literally, like, your dick's dirty. You nasty. Like, your dick is dirty. Your dick has been too many places.
You dirty dick.
And you definitely don't know how to wash it.
It's just not right.
So take us somewhere else. Goodbye.
All right. So I had talked to one other person about this this morning, and she's a Christian lady.
Okay.
Really good friend of mine. I am also, hi friends, I'm also a Christian lady, even though I cuss.
Oops.
It's Jesus loves me. It's okay. We're working on it. Anyway, so I talked to her to get her standpoint on this. She told me, I've heard a lot of, I wrote everything down just verbatim, by the way. I've heard a lot of pastors saying in my lifetime, it starts with the eyes. Now that's a biblical thing. It starts anything you see, your thoughts come, but it's from taking it in, right? So if at any point your partner is looking, this is the beginning. It's the seed that gets planted. So, they hear the thought, like, it's okay. I'm just looking. Like, I didn't do anything. I'm just looking. And, your preferences are your preferences. This is from a Christian standpoint. Porn, I'm just looking. Strip clubs, I'm just looking. Women sending you sexy pictures, I'm just looking. Sending you sexy text messages to read, I'm just looking. So at what point, even if they are reading or looking at images, your eyes, so at some point your eyes are wandering, and that wandering and wondering goes to your thoughts. The thoughts goes to your heart, boom, all of a sudden you're fucking somebody that's not your partner. Oops. And then I talked to her about cheating on an emotional level. And she, asking the question, like, is porn cheating? Some people think that porn is cheating. And that's a conversation that you would have to have in your relationship, emotional cheating. And she's so funny. She's like, take sex off the table for a second here. There's a certain spot, and for my people that believe in a higher power, this is for you, there's a God spot. And we try to fill it with everything else. And then there's a spot that's for your partner, and if you have a mate, a partner filling that position with you, but you're engaging with someone else outside of that relationship, then that is cheating. And from this point of view, because you're finding fulfillment with someone else instead of creating that connection, like we were talking about earlier, with your person or your partner. So it all comes down, this is so cute, it all comes down to trust. Do we trust our partner? Do we trust them to fulfill our needs? And if our needs aren't getting met, have we discussed that? And Lily, is so interesting because this is exactly what you said. And if they aren't fulfilling them, how are we going to get those filled? And what is keeping us apart? Because it's something. You don't just have a great relationship and unless you've agreed to that, like, some people have multiple partners, polyamory, do you damn thing. I don't give a fuck. But unless it's discussed and all above board, it ain't right, for sure.
It's so frustrating. Like, it's such a frustrating, and the whole, like, I don't even know how people can be friends with their exes. Like, that's just... especially if you have been intimate. I mean, it's one thing. It's like, oh, we dated in middle school. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Right, like, okay,
but like,
down.
if you were like in an actual relationship, like I don't talk to anybody that I was in an actual relationship with, like, throughout my life.
Right.
Like, you are not part of my life. I don't talk to you because we were in a relationship and then it ended, and that's fine. You live your life. We're not compatible. Carry on. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think it's important to have a wide range of friends, and those include different genders, but I don't think it's important to
keep an ex
as a friend.
Even if you were really good friends.
Even if you were really good friends. And even if you can still be friends. Like, even if it will work in being friends, it's just not fair to the new party involved.
New people. Yeah.
Especially if you're going to involve them in your current relationship. Now, it's one thing to be like, yeah, well, let's go bowling, we'll catch up, how's work, how's the dog, blah blah blah. Oh, my new girl, she's great, I love her to death. I'm going to go on vacation next month. But to be like, and then she did this, and then she did this, and then we had macaroni and cheese for dinner, and then she took a shower, and then she put the kid to bed, and then she vacuumed, and da. Like, mind your business. Stop it. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. And the girl, in this particular situation, the girl on the other end should be like, I don't need to know your new relationship's business. Like, that's on you for saying a wrong name. That, like, don't bring me into this. Yeah. I don't want to be the reason that you ruined another relationship. Like, that's not fair. It's your own if she has the expectations of just being a friend, and then the other party is putting her basically in the middle, that's not fair either. So in general, kick him to the fucking curb, because he's a mess and he ain't worth it. That's my opinion.
I love it.
Have you yourself ever been cheated on?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
I don't really. Well, maybe with creepy Tyson, creepy flame shirt. He was real shady for a bit.
Yeah.
Dating this chick named Marcy, who also worked at the grocery store with us.
Ooh.
I was real jealous of her. She seemed nice,
Yeah.
He would talk to her in German. But you know what? For all his faults, I will say that Tyson was probably the most forthright dork that I've ever dated. Because he said to me, and I thought he was joking, like I thought this was a joking conversation, that if I didn't sleep with him in 3 weeks, he was going to break up with me. And then 3 weeks later, when I didn't sleep with him, he broke up with me. And I was like, oh, what? I said, hey, you know what? Communication. Your need wasn't getting met. I was never going to fulfill that need. Sorry. It was not a match in any regard. I was just like, whatever. Like he was best friends with a guy that another friend of mine was dating. That's how that kind of fell into place.
Right.
I guess. Yeah. He was, for all his faults, at least he was honest with his expectation and clear.
Yeah. And, you can't really fault that, if he needed that for the relationship. And
listen, you have needs. I completely understand that, but you have to let me know if you can't handle all of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's a lot going on.
It's a handful, but you got.
There's a lot. Well, I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's a lot. It's just, it's atypical.
Yes.
It's
a different situation.
Yeah, it's an atypical situation, and some people just aren't up for. I don't want to say the challenge, but
they're expecting something else.
Right. Okay. Right. That's fair.
I heard once you're allowed to want what you want, and they're allowed to want what they want.
Exactly. And if it doesn't match, then more things aren't going to match, Yeah.
And that's the tea.
If that big guy, that big purple elephant sitting in the room ain't going to make a friend with their other elephant, then it's just going to be it's going to be a messy, crowded room.
You just see me look over at the elephant. Over there. Keep it down. I love you. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I've never been knowingly cheated on.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I mean, I had a person that I wanted as like a a significant other when I was in college. But they didn't at the time want that. And so they, did other things, which, is a thing that kind of sticks with a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard when two people come to the same conclusion, but at different times. That's the only thing that's really like happened to me. I don't think I've ever been cheated on. Not in a way where it was like with another woman. It was like, I think, I had someone kind of cheat on me with like video games, like they decided that was more important than a relationship type of thing. But it's not like cheating on, it's just, it just wasn't going to work out. No big deal. But no, I've never had anybody cheat on me. So, yeah. So, I'm grateful, thankful for that, which is very nice. But yeah, so it's weird. Life is so weird. Relationships are so weird. So weird and difficult and like, ew, like they're hard,
They're a 10 out of 10 cringe.
They're work. Cringe. Anyone who says a relationship is not work is a lie.
They lie.
Piece of doo-doo.
You're dookie. You remember that? Literal dookie.
Literal dookie.
Literal actual doo-doo.
You are Amber Heard's turd.
Amber Heard
on the bed sheets. This is where I just remembered what I wanted to chat about.
Okay.
So when you were chatting about when it comes to religion and cheating, and how your friend's perspective took it to, the eyes, and then you see, and then you see, then you see, then seeing turns into looking, and looking turns into touching, and touching turns into, the whole thing. The only thing that in my brain happened, other than you said God spot, and then I said, I have a G spot, was Josh Duggar.
I have a G spot.
I mean, you said God spot, and I was just like, G spot! She's got 2 G spots.
Leave.
She's got 2 G spots.
The elephant. Get out.
The elephant's like, So
wait, tell me about this this dork. I've heard lightly about that family.
Are we gonna get into Josh Duggar? Oh my god. Okay, so this is something that I have been following since the beginning. I was a watcher of the whole 16, 17, 18, 19 Kids and Counting because it was just so mind-blowing to me.
What was the name of that show?
It was like 19 Kids and Counting. But at like one point it was like 18 Kids and Counting. Then she had another one. And then it was like 7. It was like she just kept popping them out. So the Duggar family, if you don't know, like this is for people who are watching, is a family down south. Down south.
Down home.
And they are religious to a point where I think it's like IBLP, something like that. ILBP, some words. I'll put it here when I Google it. But it's like this sector of like Christianity that is very much stuck in the whole a woman's only job is to please the man, like to make the man happy, like make them food, wash their clothes, do the dishes, and birth their children.
That's a lot of kids, man.
And birth control is a big no. She did have a miscarriage, and she has birthed, I believe, 19 children.
A lot of children.
Now, mind you, the first one is a big turd on a stick, dropped in a fryer, dropped on the floor, and then re-turded on. He can suck it. He can straight suck it. Like, I hope you burn in hell, you stupid ass bitch. So the oldest one, he real modestly phrased, he touched a couple of his sisters inappropriately, and
I'm just looking them up right now. So
the parents decided that going to a religious boot camp type of scenario would be way more help than therapy or actual legal punishment. Now, this was documented, and then the family was slated to be on Oprah. And when people found out, the people who knew about the documentation of this situation, the touching,
with the turd,
they told Oprah's people, and it was like, here's what happened. And Oprah was like, absolutely fucking not. You're not coming on my show. Thank you. Okay. We don't like you. It was one thing when you were a nice little Christian family just popping out kids living on your whatever acreage and not affecting anyone else. You know, keeping your unusual to yourself. But the moment it crossed that boundary of you are now isolating and insulating criminal, you're basically approving the criminality of your children, your oldest male child. That's a big no-no. And then it came out, they did the interviews, blah, blah, blah. And I believe before it came out, Josh Duggar was on the list of that website that was made for people to cheat on their significant others. I forgot the name. I'll put it here.
There's a website?
There was. Yeah. Let me just look it up real quick. Ashley Madison. The website was called Ashley Madison, and it was a literal website where people could sign up and find people to cheat on with. And it got hacked, and this whole list of names came out, and his name was on that list. And at this point, he has a wife and already has children. So then it came out that he, when he was a kid, touched his sisters. And there was, I heard the excuse. Now get this. I heard the excuse. Well, they were sleeping. They didn't even know what happened.
Get out.
I wanted to scream. I wanted to
get out,
to swallow up the earth and scream.
That's like, I heard this from some article where med students would go in with doctors to sleeping female patients and like poke around in their vaginas to feel like the uterus-y moogie doogie woogie, and like the women didn't know. Women didn't know.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dig deep into that and see what's going on with that.
Duh. Nasty.
So Josh Duggar
is trash.
Was taught to be a better person by this big IBLP guy who also was a toucher. So this is where, you know, he was looking, right? So he was looking at his sisters and then he touched. Like, I'm just kind of trying to follow, like, trying to supply the logic that your friend gave you and put it into this, especially since he also follows a religion that is very similar. You know, you guys...
Yeah, same
book, different interpretations. You know, I'm pretty sure that your friend would not agree with the way that that family, even though you're looking at a almost identical text, which is very interesting to me. The whole world of religion literally just washes over me, and I'm just like, whoa, like the world of religion is just so interesting to me.
It's crazy.
And like, so sidebar, I work with and under Muslim people who follow Islam. And so I've been learning at my job a lot of things that, you know, you don't learn from just having a one-time conversation. You have multiple conversations. It's so interesting to me. Like, I literally just want to, oh my gosh. And then having a Jewish father, we have, the conversation of, it was Ramadan and Passover at the same time. And there was terrible outbreak of attacks and assaults. And it's insanity to me. It's very interesting to me. It grabs my brain and I just want to keep reading and learning and it's just okay.
Push it all in there.
So Josh Duggar, looked, touched, he got married, and he continued to look and want to touch. And then, just a year or two ago, Josh Duggar, who I believe it was like a used car. He was like a used car salesman, right?
Okay.
And his wife, knowing that he has these tendencies and wants to watch porn and has already cheated because of Ashley Madison, there was this special computer program that she could see everything he was doing. It was like a watchful eye type of program, like making sure you're staying godly. I don't know why I saluted. But he turned it off. To then download what I will bleep out the words, but you will know. We call them CP on the internet as, and it was the investigators say some of the worst imagery that they've ever seen.
Come on, dude.
So then he got arrested. Like the FBI or whatever showed up, like knock, 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 hello. And then while they were acting on their warrant for all of his technology, he says to an officer as he's, being detained and removed from the building, what is this about or something? And they're like, it's not for us to say, whatever. It's a whole thing. He's currently going to court. After he was arrested and held, he should have been held in jail while the court proceedings occurred, because this is a monster to society and will hopefully burn, rot, decay in the worst place that eternal existence could ever take you. Because there's one thing that I do not put up with, and that's harming children. Period. That's the number one rule, is don't do it. And I've said it before. It's one thing to have two adults in a situation, but the moment you harm a child and destroy their innocence, or encourage and pay for the destroying of their innocence and their ability to continue with life in a free and easy way, it makes me want to just reach through and just shake him to a point where it is just so absolutely disgusting.
Heinous. Yeah.
And this all is happening because he was not taken care of in the right way when Exhibit A happened, Yeah. And now we're all the way to Z. We've reached it all. He's done it all. So he was arrested. He should have been held while the court proceedings occurred and went back and forth to jail, go to court, go back to jail, go to court. But he was released to a family friend.
Here we go.
He could not have contact with any children, even his own. And he couldn't have any technology.
Good.
But put him in jail.
But also, why are you out of jail?
Why are you out of jail? You have possession of illegal material. Jail.
You said you could leave.
Do you know how many black people are going to end their lives in prison for marijuana? But
jail.
You can just kind of like go to Mickey D's whenever you want while possessing CP. Some of the worst of it. Okay.
Jail.
Because our justice system isn't broken.
It works really well, Lily.
Okay. So,
it works great.
Yeah. And
gross.
Yeah. So and that so that was my brain when you know all of that was happening, was just kind of going back through and seeing how, you know, applying a religious outlook to a relationship and keeping it good and not cheating can also be the reason that things continue to happen, you know, and not necessarily, oh, he's a cheater, so he's going to be doing those things that Josh Duggar did. But it could also be like the encouraging factor of, well, if I make right with God, it's fine type of thing. You know, if I personally do what I need to do to make right with God, it's okay. You know, because you can't tell me that Josh didn't have that thought of, well, I said a prayer or a Hail Mary or whatever, and so God says I'm good, you know, like type of
and there's,
I
mean, that this is definitely something for for the religion episode, for the religion series. But like, there's a difference between, you know, asking for forgiveness in that regard and then true repentance. So you can ask for forgiveness and you're forgiven, but if you're not turning 180 degrees opposite direction, actively working to be a different person, then you're lying. And this is just the doctrine of Mick. You're lying and you're trash.
Right.
And God sees you. You're nasty. You're nasty.
And as a person who's not religious but just really interested in religion, especially like the big three and how they kind of intermingle, I think that I'm very much about what happens like physically to what you do like emotionally and like verbally. Like when you lie, you feel a physical change. You know, you can feel your heart either slow down or speed up. Things kind of settle, you know, downwards. You know, you can feel the energy in your face in a different way than the way you normally speak. You know, you have a physical change to a lie, or when you're trying to, mind you, this is like for someone who's not like a psychopath, like actually, because they wouldn't feel that, but like you can feel the physicality of your brain trying to trick somebody. So you can feel that. And someone who is not a psychopath actually can also see that physical change, you know, for the most part. You know, actors, you know, you're better liars, whatever, stuff like that. But, you know, you can physically feel that. So what is that doing internally? You know, what is that doing to your organs, to your blood flow, to where your oxygen's being, you know, pushed throughout your body? So like, I'm very much about like that, and like the karma that like you put off from that. You know, what is that doing to the energy around you? And I'm not like a big energy person, but you know, mildly, you know, you can feel it, you know, like if you say you have a dog and you're fighting with your boyfriend or something, that dog's going to feel that tension. That dog's going to feel that energy, and maybe the dog starts barking, or it poops on the floor, or doesn't, you know, tell you that he needs to go outside when he has to go pee, or chews up the curtains or something like that. Like that tension is going to be passed through every living being in that house until it doesn't exist anymore, you know, and it's really uncomfortable. Like it's not comfy. So I could only imagine what Josh Duggar's wife felt, especially as someone who wasn't as religious. I've watched way too much about this. Like I've watched every YouTube video, every single thing. Like I watched Emily D. Baker on all the trial stuff.
Wow.
Josh's wife wasn't at the same level of like religiosity, I don't know, that they were when they met. You know, she wasn't as religious as them. She had a car accident, and then she was like, wow, You know, she kind of had this, like, epiphany, like, it was because of this God that the people around me also believe in that I came out of that type of thing. So then she, you know, jumped into it. That's a very condensed version. But, like, not religious, car accident, religious in their style of religion. I can only imagine what she feels living in that house before he was like
in the clink
in the
clinkety clink.
I could only imagine, like, how that feels to be there with her husband, who she knows did what he did to his sisters, who she knows cheated on him with the internet and credit cards, who she now knows possessed, the CP, who she also has children with.
Oof.
I could only imagine, like, God, if she doesn't drink, if she doesn't smoke weed, I really hope she has a really good therapist on call. Because that is way too much for a young woman. I believe she's still maybe only in her 30s. A mother, you know, a D-list celebrity. You know, she was a part of the show. Like, people follow her.
Yeah.
Yikes. Like, everyone talks about Josh Duggar did this, Josh Duggar did that, but, like, he has a family. Well, had. But I think she's, like, sticking with him. And that's the scary part of that, like, sect of religion, is the brainwashing aspect, because it's very much like the Mormonism, like how all the women talk, and they're very much ready for God to show them the life. That aspect creeps me the fuck out. Cheating is no good.
Rough.
Don't do it.
It is rough. It is rough out there. 10 out of 10 do not recommend.
No, don't do it.
It's cringe. It hurts you. It hurts them.
And if you do it
hurts a lot.
Like, you can't blame anyone else for doing it. You need to blame yourself.
And you can always stop.
You can always stop.
There's a really wonderful story about somebody who was in a relationship like this, and the one person was like, listen, I can't do it. I'm out.
Yep.
So if you want to do this, you need to leave your wife. Bye.
Gotta go. Clock out. Clock out before you clock back in.
Punch out. Go get a coffee. If you're going to punch back in, just make sure the schedule is clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's not fair.
It's not fair. It is yucky. It's yucky.
And the more people involved.
And it does change you sleepless nights.
Mm-hmm.
You can't eat.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows what else?
Yeah. It could have, like, long-term effects on your own mental health and your partner's mental health, and that's no good.
It'll bleed into your next relationship.
Yeah. Or all of them.
It'll bleed all over everything.
Yeah. No good.
That shit does not come out.
It ain't right. It's not fair. Anywho, have you guys been cheated on? If so, tell us. Or were you the cheater?
Oh, what happened?
We want to know.
We do.
We want to know so bad. We're also just nosy, so.
Nosy Rosie over here. I know myself. Plank.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching us talk about cheating. This was a big one. This was a big one. This was a good one. Yeah. Big deal. Big time. Big time, baby. Before you go, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. And remember that the possibilities are endless.
Absolutely endless.
Bye.
Bye. What an ending.